And joining us now is NBC News Chief Capitol Hill correspondent Ryan Nobles, NBC News Justice reporter Ryan Riley, and MSNBC legal analyst and former Assistant Manhattan District Attorney Catherine Christian. Ryan Nobles, start us off. A lot of developments today as it relates to this push for answers in the Epstein case. What's the very latest there on the Hill?
Well, and I think you're right that there was perhaps some hope among high-ranking Republicans that the long August recess would lead to this Epstein controversy fading away. But it's actually been the exact opposite. As we've seen through town halls all across the country, this was something that constituents were pressing Republican members about. And as soon as we get back to Congress being in session, we're seeing them address this issue immediately. Today, a group of survivors of the Epstein controversy will be here on Capitol Hill. They will meet behind closed doors with a bipartisan group of members of the House Oversight Committee. They will also get an audience with the Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson. Then tomorrow, many of them will appear in a public press conference with Congressman Ro Khanna and Tom Massie, where they're expected to talk about their experience with Epstein and this sex ring that he had run. The expectation here is that we're going to hear from survivors who have not talked about publicly before. And then the question is, how much more teeth will there be behind this investigation? The House Oversight Committee has already subpoenaed documents from the Department of Justice. They are getting some of those documents in. They've subpoenaed documents from the Epstein estate. They're expected to get some of them as soon as the end of this week. And they've also scheduled depositions and closed-door transcribed interviews with some of the people directly connected with this controversy, including Alex Acosta, who is, of course, the U.S. attorney for the Southern District of Florida, who was in charge of the initial Epstein investigation. Anna.
So, Ryan Nobles, you've got survivors meeting with lawmakers behind closed doors today. You have a bipartisan press conference expected with another group of Epstein abuse survivors tomorrow. As you point out, sure doesn't sound like the long summer break did much to calm the waters. Is the pressure coming as much from Republicans as it is Democrats right now?
I would think there's equal parts right now, Anna, and certainly most rank and file Republicans would like to see this go away, but it doesn't take more than a handful of Republicans to make this issue an issue, particularly in the House of Representatives. And that's where you see Representative Ro Khanna and Tom Massie trying to find an angle here. They are filing the discharge petition at 2 o'clock today that would force a vote on the House floor, compelling the Department of Justice to release all the information that they have related to the Epstein files. And they also believe that this press conference that's going to happen tomorrow is going to put a ton of pressure on members of Congress to get this information out there. Listen to what Khanna said this weekend.
What will be explosive is the September 3rd press conference that both of us are having with 10 Epstein victims, many who have never spoken out before. They're going to be on the steps of the Capitol. They will be telling their story, and they will be saying clearly to the American public that they want the release of the Epstein files for full closure on this matter.
And so we'll wait for that tomorrow. We'll see what happens out of this closed-door meeting that is happening here today. Anna, what is very clear about this closed-door meeting is that this is going to give these survivors an opportunity to tell their stories in a safe and private space and reveal information that maybe many of these members of Congress have never heard before. Anna.
Okay, Ryan Nobles, thank you. Please keep us posted. Ryan Riley, we know the oversight panel or that committee is also expected to obtain some relevant documents from Epstein's estate. What might those include?
Yeah, I mean, the birthday book that you mentioned sort of up top might be the chief one there. That's what at least what Democrats say they could be looking for. And that, of course, is the document that the Wall Street Journal reported about, including all of these birthday messages for Jeffrey Epstein, including allegedly, although the president denies it was from him, one from Donald Trump that received obviously a lot of attention and sort of renewed a lot of the interest in the Epstein case. Of course, as you see on the screen there's also going to be financial records, non-disclosure agreements, the potential client list, although we've heard from a lot of experts on this that there was no quote unquote clients list. And then that birthday book, which has drawn just a ton of attention because of the direct connection to Donald Trump, allegedly. There obviously were known to have this close social relationship, but the actual birthday well wish is the one that has been a controversy that the president has denied writing.
Right. So, Catherine, this birthday book, we've talked about it before. It's something that's not going away. How significant could it be, especially given President Trump's denials about including anything in it? If it turns out there's something there, then what?
It's significant because we will know the people who were in Epstein's social world. That does not mean they were criminals. But if you're signing his book, wishing him a happy birthday, you're people who know him well enough that he would have you sign this book for him and wish him a happy birthday.
I'm wondering, too, when we were just hearing from Ryan Nobles about the meetings with the abuse survivors, potentially some survivors coming forward who haven't come forward before. If they give new information, could that launch a new direction and perhaps reopen an investigation? Well, in terms of like the DOJ's stance?
Well, Epstein is dead, so that part of it is gone. But what it might do is chill any talk about pardoning or commuting the sentence of Ms. Maxwell, because it's enough that we have her trial and those witnesses who testified publicly in court. Now we have other people who, when they were minors, which means they can't consent, were victimized by Ms. Maxwell and Mr. Epstein.
But what if they point fingers at other people?
Yes. Well, then you would hope that the U.S. attorney, whatever district that these acts happened against them, would start questioning them seriously, and particularly if they're naming names that the DOJ and the Southern District and the Florida U.S. attorney were not aware of before.
Ryan, House lawmakers are also seeking documents from the Treasury Department related to Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell, right? What's that all about?
Well, the Treasury Department could have records. There's supposed to be these anytime a bank transfers more than $10,000, there's supposed to be these records. So it might help to sort of paint this financial picture of what Jeffrey Epstein was doing and where some of his money was going, what sort of interactions he got that way. But I think especially from the documents from his estate could be potentially more illuminating. But the Treasury Department ones might be of interest as well.
Catherine, your thoughts about what they're calling suspicious activity reports that they're trying to get from the Treasury Department?
Well, all banks, all financial institutions are required to file suspicious activity reports. In law enforcement, we call them SARs. Whenever a customer or an account looks suspicious, is engaging in some financial crime, money laundering, they are required to file that with the Department of Justice. We've seen these transactions. In our opinion, it's money laundering. In our opinion, it's some financial fraud, some elder fraud. So if those were filed by whatever banks or financial institutions he kept his money, they would give a wealth of information about what was going on financially with him and Ms. Maxwell.
Interesting. Thank you so much, Catherine Christian. Thank you very much, Ryan Riley. I appreciate you both.